Josh.
Hello, mate.
How are we, sir?
Good, thank you.
Good. And you travelled a couple of hours, have you?
A couple of hours, yeah, from Loughborough.
Yeah.
Not many people, maybe.
You're the first one here in the studio, the NAPA TV Studio.
Yeah.
So,
Well, like I said, it's an honour to have been invited, and looking at the name on the table already.
Yes.
What a person to follow.
Well, yeah, as you said, it all started here.
Yeah.
Eddie Elwood. So we're the first week in the 2018, is there? Yeah, and I'm trying to remember what bloody year it is then. It gets worse as you get on. But how was your festive season?
Yeah, it was good, mate. As everyone can tell from my voice, I had the lurgy that everyone got. But
yeah, it seems to be a lot of it about, isn't it?
Yeah, it's bad this year. But voice aside, it's nice for me. It's just going home and see my parents.
Yeah,
it's the only time we spend together over the year, so it was just relaxing.
What about New Year?
Very uneventful.
Is that by choice?
By choice, yeah. No, I just went round to friends. I think I was in bed by 11. So,
what, on New Year's Eve?
On New Year's Eve,
really?
Yeah. Well, I woke up New Year's Day feeling like an absolute hero, though. Felt fresh as a daisy, so... Yeah.
I think I got in about 2 o'clock or something.
Oh, you're a better man
but
than
I
me,
weren't
mate.
drinking. No.
I can't do that.
No.
I sleep a lot. Anyone who knows me, I'm known for my ability to sleep, and if you've ever seen me at any shows, it's often on the floor with my eyes closed.
So do you never have a problem when you're sleeping, even when you're getting ready for shows?
No, it's staying awake's the problem, mate.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, no, I think I've got the cure for insomnia in me.
So you're pretty chill.
I'm calm, yeah.
Is that by nature, you would say?
I think so. I was never... my mum is a very down-to-earth and relaxed kind of... She's a Buddhist, so she's very mellow and very calm. And I think I definitely picked that up from her.
Wow.
So
what about your dad?
He's middle of the road. He's got a temper on him, but...
But you're more...
I'll follow
you're
much
the
more
Buddhist type mum.
Yeah,
you follow off the... That's really interesting.
Yeah.
I mean... How did that come about?
What, with my mum?
Yeah, you must be...
I think she's always had a kind of interest in it. Like my parents travelled a lot, and I was actually born in India.
Give over.
So they worked there for a few years.
Whereabouts in India?
Madras, Chennai, yeah. So
and how long? And so was it a holiday or? I mean,
no. So they worked there. They worked for the British Council,
right?
But I was only there for a matter of weeks before we moved back to the UK.
So does that mean you have an Indian passport?
No, I've got a British passport, but I'm pretty sure if I wanted like dual nationality or something, it's something that I could go for. But
right, but because you're actually going out to
India. Yeah.
But is it?
It's the homecoming on Wednesday. Yeah, I think because we used to go every second Christmas until I was about 10, I think. So it's 20 years since I last went.
Wow,
that's going to be something special.
Where's the colour?
I know. Yeah. Blended into the table.
So you're looking forward to going back?
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
So what's taking you out there? What is it?
So I've been lucky enough to be invited by Nick Orton and Body Power.
Oh, awesome.
So they're taking me out along with a few other guys. I'm on a post with Flex Wheeler and Kai Green, and it's just like one of those things where I'm looking at it thinking,
how does that feel?
How does that happen? It feels amazing, honestly. Flex Wheeler messaged me on Instagram, and I was like,
he's a good guy.
Oh wow, I just thought this can't be real. Like,
yeah.
And then, like I said, to meet them is going to be, I don't know, I'm going out there as an athlete, but I'm now going out there as a fan.
Yeah, but you've got to understand that. What was it, 2 months ago now?
Yeah,
that
it would have been.
You won the Nabba Universe.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
Class 1.
Yeah.
So don't sell yourself short.
Yeah,
You've done something right.
Yeah, when you look at people who you've been like you kind of looked up to while I've been going through this process,
but you still
and then to be like alongside. I mean, yeah, be a proper little fanboy while I'm out there.
But talking about like being a fan of bodybuilding, I mean, how old are you now?
I'm 29.
So you're 29. You're young. Making me feel older. This, 29. This is my 50th year on the planet. I'm 50 in September. And I'm like,
God, yeah. Well, I saw your abs earlier, mate. You're doing all right, eh? He's looking good.
You got to hang in there, Still, yeah, but for me, it's still living the life.
Yeah.
Still, I like to still train, and I still like to eat well,
Yeah.
and I just keep it along them lines and do it for me. So but what actually inspires? I mean, I've done before. It inspires you, but who are the guys that you really sort of like look towards?
So Eddie was the first guy who I ever came across and was like I said to Chris earlier, kind of wowed by, I came across as it is universe.
Oh, ironic, eh?
Yeah, no, honestly, this is when you invited me and I knew he was the first guest. I thought it's like it's like it's meant to be, like full circle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think on YouTube his 97 universe video was one of the first ones I saw and was just like, if ever I could get like that. And, you know, again, like we talked about earlier with conditioning, big guy, and he did it. And I think that set the standard. So, Eddie, I mean, in all honesty, people always say, oh, who are the bodybuilders you look up to? It's never the pros. For me, it's always been guys I've been lucky enough to meet and call friends. Within this country, you know, on the amateur scene, like some of my really good friends, like Max O'Connor.
Yeah, great physique.
And then just physique. Like, we've always bounced off each other. You know, I do all my own prep myself, but he's always someone who I'll listen to. Likewise, he's got a guy in his corner, Rich Kozdecki, who's a natural pro,
right?
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, kind of guys like Jordan Peters earlier.
Yeah.
So all of those combined, you know, you've got James Hollingshead, who's just gone as pro.
Yeah,
this
great,
year.
Lovely physique.
Like, there's so many guys within like reach.
Yeah.
Who I think that's so good. Like,
so sort of like the people that you've met and felt a connection with.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Like names like, you know, Dennis Wolf's probably my favourite pro physique.
Yeah.
Like, I just think like when in his heyday, looked great.
When would you say his heyday was? Because I competed with Dennis, and I mean, I've known Dennis. I've not spoke to him for a while, but we've had some conversation. In fact, when I qualified for the Olympia in 2009, I was crying, and he's going, "What the fuck's wrong with you, man?" He said, "What?" I said, "But Dennis, I've just qualified for the Olympia," and he said, "I'm only messing, I'm shitting with you." You know, he said, "Really, yeah." He says, "Proper sound guy."
Yeah, no, I think around that period, really, because I'm a big fan of like small waists, and
I like Dennis though. Do you remember did you ever see Dennis when he actually did the Nabba Universe?
No.
Wow, on the
really?
Yeah, because I remember saying to them,
I always forget that like so many guys came up through the universe.
They did, and Dennis was these real lines, and I remember having a conversation with him. You might not recall it, but and he rang me up, and I said, you know, we were chatting. I think he was trying to, at the time, was working with CMP. It was, and I think he was trying to get through. He was come ring through to Kerry, and we were just chatting away. And I said, you know what, Dennis? I said, you don't need any more bloody muscle on that frame. I said, do you remember when you did the universe? You need to get them lines and that etch detail, because I found that Dennis at some point went supersize.
Yeah, I mean, he's in that era, isn't he? With he's up against like Jay and Ronnie. And you're thinking, you know, our line's going to cut it against those guys when they've got that much going on.
I think with Ronnie, I think Ronnie was I suppose apart from Dorian, was the big man, the freak, but with the lines as well.
Exactly.
You know, when you condition, but if you look, let's just, you know, you look at yourself there just on that screen.
Yeah.
I mean, you're conditioning, and I mean, for people, you know, that are listening to us, you know, you've got to look at the two extreme ends here. I'm 5'4", 5'5", whichever way. You're
6'6".
So we are the ultimate little and large show, you know. But I mean, for a man that, you know, like everyone goes, oh, it's easy for short guys, and you know, what do you say to that?
Well, I don't think it's ever easy. You know, when's it going to be easy? This isn't an easy sport.
It isn't.
You know, at any level. And I think if you can't get your conditioning right, no matter, like, you know, people say, oh, it's the one thing that you can do as well as a pro, as an amateur, is getting condition. You won't have the genetics, you might not have the shape, you might not have the size, but you can get the condition because that's hard work.
Was that who installed that into you? Was that yourself?
I mean, like my first, like I say, I prep myself now. The first guy and the only guy ever to take me through a prep was just a local bodybuilder of a similar age to myself when I started, called Drossos, and he hammered me and got me lean as anything, and he was prepping for the same show as myself the first year. So, you know, it's not like I was listening to someone who was just sat back eating burgers. He was right there with me, which really helped myself. And he bought a great package. Again, I don't think many people know him, but they would if he'd continued.
Right, with you.
You know, he was potentially even shorter than yourself.
Really?
5'3", 5'4".
Rarity in life, isn't it? Yeah.
But like the shape on the guy, so he was kind of Cypriot, and you know, just really lovely.
Very, very pleasing to me.
Yeah, very round, very full, and tiny waist. Everything was popping.
And what was he weighing? I mean,
I think he did. So my first show was Leicester show UKBFF in 2010, and he must have done the intermediate under. What's the lightest one they do? Probably under 80s, but
well, the under 70s.
Do they do under 70s and intermediates as well?
Intermediates. No, it's under 80s, over 80s.
Yeah, so I think. Yeah. But I mean, he will have been an under 70s competitor,
right?
Like, you know, but you look to him, and I was seeing him in the gym, and this is when a time when there was nothing on me. And I was going, look at all that muscle, and yeah.
So how did you get to? Or what was the first time you actually entered the gym?
So I mean, I've always. My background is swimming, so I used to be a national level swimmer from, probably did it seriously from the age of 10 till 19, and we're talking, you know, early mornings, late nights with kind of 40 hours, 50 hours training a week.
Wow.
So obviously with that was an element of land work and gym-based stuff, but it was very much strength and conditioning. It wasn't really bodybuilding, and I always loved it, and I knew I loved it. And
so how would the training split up? Because I mean, funnily enough, in swimming, my brother, his wife, sister is Kerry-Ann Payne.
No, okay.
Yeah. So, you know, she won got the silver at the Beijing Olympics. Yeah,
I swam at Loughborough Uni. I'm putting myself on out there now. Was she married? Was it Ross Davenport? No. David Carey.
I think so. You can remember it? I can't remember it. But yeah, he was a swimmer.
There was someone. I'm sure she was going out with someone at Loughborough, and I swam at the same time as him.
Right.
He was a higher level than myself, but so yeah, that's where it all started. And from that, as soon as I decided I just lost the love for swimming.
What caused that? Do you think?
I think that I got to a point I was kind of national level finalist.
Yeah.
So we're top 10, top 8.
And what distance did you say?
So I was breaststroke 100, 200.
Right. Okay.
Which was a strong event at the time, and also to get to kind of the next level, which was international, you need to be top 2.
Yeah.
And it was a, you know, I don't like saying anything's impossible, but it was a long slog for something that I'd already put such a lot of time into, and had only kind of progressed to that point, and kind of was really struggling to move any further. I think it just got to the point where I lost a bit of passion for it. And when you're swimming 40 hours a week and you haven't got a bit of passion, that's all that carries you through those sessions.
And do you looking back, do you think, I mean, the way in which the training schedules were brought, do you think there was an element of, I've always wondered this with various sports, and I think, again, I relate with the bodybuilding element, you can do too much. Do you think sometimes you may be putting too much in?
I think within swimming, and whether it's changed or not, but it's not necessarily whether they do too much. It's so ingrained.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone's really got the balls to do something so different. To try.
Yep.
But it's the recovery. They don't eat well.
That's my point.
I think now maybe a bit more, but only at the top level do they have a nutritionist involved.
I had this conversation with, I remember saying with Kerry-Ann and, you know, her family, saying, you don't understand nutrition is so important.
Of it, because, you know, I trained, you know, 4 hours in the pool a day and maybe even an hour in the gym on top of that. I don't know what calories I was eating. I was eating a lot of big meals.
Do you wish you think you could have relayed the information?
Fascinated to see what effect it would have had.
Knowing what you know now as a bodybuilder.
Just exactly that. Yeah, like it would have been interesting, and it certainly would have got a bit more out of me. Yeah. But to what extent, I don't know.
I think the thing is like, I remember when me and Kerry at the time, we did a sit down chat with Ricky Hatton and that.
Okay.
And Billy Graham. And we were talking about nutrition. This is basically how it came about, how Kerry then ended up getting into the corner with Ricky and that, and explaining the fundamental principles of what the lifestyle of being a bodybuilder, how it would benefit athletes in all various sports.
Definitely.
And like you say, the most important thing of any athlete is recuperation, recovery.
Yeah.
The quicker you recover.
At whatever level whatever sport you do,
without a doubt,
when you're pushing yourself, you need it.
Yeah.
And again, it seems the first thing that, or the last thing that people think about.
It's amazing. It's always baffled me that we as bodybuilders have been ahead of the curve. And we're like, you know, we lead from the front, and yet we're the ones who get persecuted.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
So true, yeah. Put in a little corner and
the
just...
way the sport needs to bloody...
Yeah,
you know.
and this is it. I mean, in all defence, when I worked, because I was fortunate to go to uni at Loughborough University and work there after, so I got to speak to some of the kind of top UK S&C coaches, and there was a guy then, Tommy Yule, and he, you know, this was while I was kind of going through my bodybuilding evolution at the beginning. Yeah. You know, he said to me, he was like, you know, you're doing it, like, why we don't do more of what you kind of do with food and even the training styles, because, you know, a lot of like athletes, it's about getting stronger, but with that you need an element of tissue growth. Yeah. And you know, if you can then put tissue on and then get that tissue strong, you know, through, you know, if you're just doing cleans and snatches and quite stressful movements and not necessarily breaking it down, he was like, bodybuilding training could definitely have an impact. Yeah, without a doubt. But again, it's the stigma and it's the tradition of what's been going before. So yeah.
So when you were swimming, I mean, obviously, I mean, what are you weighing now?
So I was 305 pounds this morning. So, and it's 100.
Do you still swim, by the way?
I've not in a while. Every year.
I'd love to see that.
Every year around prep, I go, get in the pool, because if I'm in shape, I think I look good around the pool side.
I've seen you in the gym earlier. Bloody hellfire.
I never get around to it. No, the closest I've got in the past few years is probably going to a spa and sitting in a jacuzzi.
Is that the one? Is it? Yeah. I used to, and when my daughter was small, and you know, I used to get some right looks.
Yeah, I bet.
And that's at 5'4", 5'5". But can you imagine 6'6" B-month, this monster coming in, and it's like, even I'd be like that. Oh, yeah, well, okay, yeah. You know,
I think we've got an image of Josh from his swimming days.
I was just about to say, I'd love to see. Oh, come on!
Look at that!
Oh my God!
What a physique!
How many years apart's that?
That's 10 years.
10 years.
So I think the picture in the green trunks is from, was it last year's Universe?
Wow.
And then the other one was a holiday when I was 18. So there was 10 years between those two.
Do you recognise the guy on the left?
The thing is, you know, like they say, bodybuilders, they don't see themselves as other people do.
No.
I still see myself more as the skinny guy than I do the big guy.
Really?
Yeah. So it's he's still right in here, right in me. And that's what kind of keeps pushing me forward, I think.
Well, that's a good thing, though, isn't it?
Definitely.
I think as a bodybuilder, if you get to that point where you think this is it, I don't think I know anyone truly, even, you know, people likes of Dorian and Jay and Ronnie and even the guys at the top of the game, they're always looking to improve and pursue.
There's always something. That's the thing I love about bodybuilding, is that you know, you might not be heavy one year, but you can be better. You can have better arms. You know, there's always something that you can improve on. You know, the perfect physique doesn't exist, but you can try your best to make yours as good as you can. And I think for me, that's what bodybuilding's always been about. I've been kind of lucky and I've worked hard for the kind of accolades I've got, but they've never been the priority. Like progression, and to look back from that photo, from photos when I first competed, from photos 2 years later to where I am now, that is what really gets my fire burning. The fact that I have improved, and
I mean, is it your goals? Like, are they driven by just is it sort of titles, or is it continuously self-improving?
It's continuous self-improvement. I'll be honest, like right now, I don't know what my goals are. If you, I wanted to win the universe. Yeah. And I wanted to do it before I was 30. Yeah. Now, I knew that was like, you know, I don't like people who say that like kind of placings, or it should be goals, because it does, you can't predict who's going to turn up. But that was an ambition. Yeah. And I'm grateful that I achieved that. Yeah. But right now, you know, I've got pictures from this year or from last universe. I'm going to do the pro universe in October, and I will look better. And as long as I do that, happy days.
Yeah, victory comes from within, as I say, you know.
So, you know, I want to train harder. I want to eat more off season. I want to lift more. Yeah. I want to feel good. I want to get my voice back.
So what with the first, did you say the first year you competed was 2010?
2010, yeah.
And that was which show was that?
So UKBFF Leicester.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was, what class was that?
That was classics.
Oh, you were in the classic class?
Yeah, because I was 22 then. I think at the time juniors was only up to 21. I mean, God forbid if I'd done juniors, it would have been embarrassing, because that was Jordan Peters, James Hollingshead, you know, and those guys were bodybuilders then.
Yeah.
I was not a bodybuilder. Like, I don't look at myself then and think, you know, and if you show me to someone, it's not a bodybuilder look. However, the class itself, I was tall, I had decent legs, I placed 5th of the British.
Right.
I think that might have been the year Harry Ogg won it.
From Scotland?
Yes.
Yeah, Harry Ogg, yeah.
But then from then I was like, right, well, that's a nice starting point.
Yeah.
But I will not get back on stage until I look a hell of a lot better.
So what made you go into the classical art? Was it someone sort of like
someone suggested, yeah, because like I was training I finished swimming at 19 and I found my way into, well, I went straight into the gym, but I didn't have a clue what I was doing.
Right.
You know, I've always logged training. Swimming kind of put that programmed ethos into me, so I've always tracked what I've done.
Right, okay.
So I've got logbooks from when I started, and I look back at them, and it's kind of, you know, chest day is every chest exercise you can imagine.
Yeah.
Like 3 sets of like literally everything, you know, incline bench, flat bench, decline bench, barbell, dumbbell, flies, like
overkill.
Yeah. But I didn't know any better.
Yeah,
I'm coming from a volume background.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
I can definitely handle more volume. What have you got? Oh, there he is. Yeah. That's me in 2010 as a classic.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy moly. Good find that one, Chris.
Yeah. The thing of
but then, you know, this is the beauty about bodybuilding, isn't it? It's that continuation of self-improvement and, you know, just grinding. And it's grinding it out. But what do you think looking at that?
It's so, mate, it's kind of, I mean, based on what I look like now, I'm proud, but it's a little bit cringy.
I know what you're saying, because I think we all think that when we look back in the early days and then think how you progress, but, you know, you've got to be proud of how far you've come.
Yeah, and exactly, you know, I got up there, I gave it my all.
Yeah.
Oh, look, there's Max.
Yeah, bit of Max O'Connor there.
Yeah, so... Yeah, no, I mean, I'm eternally proud of myself that I got on stage to begin with in that stage, because it gave me a realistic reference point of what I looked like lean.
Yeah.
So many people do this perma bulk when they're never quite ready to get on stage. Yep. And when they finally do, they lose so much weight and they actually haven't got much tissue left.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, isn't it?
I can say I was 108 kilos there. Right. I was 130 kilos at the University of Scone. So I put 22 kilos of stage tissue on in 7 years.
Yes. And I think a lot of people, like, you know, I think they try and rush building muscle tissue as well.
Yeah.
And I say to people, like, you know, it doesn't work like that. I mean, it was 93 that I won the Intermediate Britain. I think I was weighing around about, I don't know, 12 stone, 3 or 4. And then the following year did the middleweights come forth in 99, then I won the Britain again, but as a middleweight.
Yeah.
And then my last show was like 202 pounds. That was like over the course of nearly 18, well, it was 18 years of competing, you know, and I think a lot of people think, oh, I've made tremendous gains, and I think they kid themselves.
Well, yeah, I mean, weight on its own. I mean, my heaviest weight ever was in 2014, I think, off season. I got up to 155 kilos, 24 plus stone. And I look at photos. I went to a wedding that year. Jesus. I mean, my face was round.
Yeah,
I didn't have a beard to hide it, so it was like a moon.
I've got a picture of when I've got a picture of, I've got a picture of me somewhere, you know, Polaroid, when I met Dorian for the first time. And I was like that with him. And my head, it was the only thing that was bigger. It's like big beach ball head, and I look back and go, oh dear.
Exactly. You know, I hit 24 stone kind of off season now, but I've never got heavier than that.
How do you? I mean, but seriously, 24 stone, right? I mean, the heaviest I ever got to was just under 17. And
your height, though, that's a lot.
That was a lot. It was just ridiculous. I couldn't breathe hardly. You know, when trying to fasten my shoelace, I'm like. It's like, how does it feel walking around?
I mean, it feels a lot better now. Like, I'm 305 right now. I don't know what that is, 22 maybe. Yeah. Mid 22s. And I'm not eating a great deal, and I'm holding it.
When you say not eating a great deal, this is going to be interesting. So
about 4,000
calories.
Yeah.
That's not a lot for someone like yourself.
No,
and does that hold in your weight?
Yeah, this will hold 300 pounds.
Wow.
So it's kind of there at the moment, because with India coming up, I didn't want to blow out.
No, because I saw you, as I say earlier on, in the gym, and you was
had
looking
to kind of bear in mind that,
decent, that
I want to represent myself well.
Yeah.
It's an opportunity to go out there and be seen. And I love Christmas normally, but I did hold back. I enjoyed my food. But
when you say you love Christmas, define your enjoyment of Christmas.
Well, I'm not a drinker, so it's not to do with alcohol. But, normally, the past few years, Christmas, it's been maybe 10 days, 22nd to the 2nd, I'm off work.
Yep.
I go back home, I see my parents. Normally I wouldn't train at all.
Yep.
Most we go for family walks, and I would eat less meals, but, the meals would be whatever I could get my hands on.
It's really weird you should say that, because I used to find that when Christmas come, it used to knock me a little bit out of sync. And I'd end up, I actually ate less during the Christmas period.
I think the quality of food is poorer. And also the quantity as well kind of goes down.
It did a little bit for me, and that. But I sort of, I don't know if it was subconsciously. I just sort of went, I'm having sweets, mince pies, and some chocolate. So it was like I was substituting the carbs and stuff like that
good stuff.
for the good, the good stuff. But it allowed me to. I don't know. I don't know if it was just me subconsciously doing that.
Yeah. No, I mean, like normally I just
replacing it.
Yeah, because I switch off. Like I have that ability. Like some bodybuilders, I say I switch off. I can switch off over Christmas. Yeah. Throughout the year, I'm on it. Like, and I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I was very robotic, but when I did, it was like just during them handful of days.
Yeah, and I think it's the time of year from what it represents for me. It's the only time I get to spend quality time with my family. Yeah. My parents, they don't understand bodybuilding. They support me like any good parent would, but they,
sounds similar to my mum.
Yeah, like she. If you showed her that transformation picture we put up, she loved me before, and she'll actively say now she hates the way I look. But
have you? What? I bet that's an interesting conversation to hear that, isn't it? It's same with my mum used to always say to me, John, when are you going to retire? When are you going to retire? I'm like thinking,
what's wrong?
What?
I think they care obviously from the health side of things, but that's I do my best to keep everything in check. So. Yeah, I think she's just.
Does she still? Is she still at?
Yeah, we've got to the point now. I'm really close to my mum.
Yeah,
we just know we don't like. If she's got something bad to say, she just won't say it, and then I won't kind of pick up on anything. But she won't say you look great ever.
No. What does your dad say?
Well, bless my dad. My dad's 80.
Right. Okay.
So this is a crazy kind of thing for him. He has no real sporting background, or he's a really smart guy, he's an intellectual. So
right.
Yeah, he's proud of the achievements.
Yeah,
but he doesn't. He has no understanding or kind of reference. And
do you have any brothers and sisters?
I don't know. No, I'm an only child. So yeah.
See, Dad had he had you when he was late on, didn't he?
50 on, yeah.
I'm not having it. I'm 50. No, I'm not having any more kids. No chance. It's not going to happen.
I've got a half sister.
Right. Okay. So
yeah, he was married previously.
So how old's your sister?
I'm not sure. Honestly, we don't see each other too much. She lives in France, but I think she's in her 40s.
Right, okay.
So, she was probably the more reasonable child for him to have. But my mum's quite a bit younger, so I think when that started, then they gave it a go, and here I am. I'm glad they gave it a go.
We have the giants and your parents to thank for that. Yeah. So do you see your parents often?
I speak to them a lot, but throughout the year, they live down in Kent.
Ah, right,
so,
okay.
I probably see them maybe 2 or 3 times a year. Mm-hmm. So normally birthday. They both came to the universe this year.
That's nice.
First time they've ever both been at a show. They're together, but just in the past. Mum came last year, Dad came the year before. Yeah. So for them, that was kind of the best thing about, I think, that whole show was the fact that they were there.
And you won.
And I won
it.
And they they had no clue about the kind of scale of it.
Yeah.
But the fact that they were there for me was huge.
Brilliant.
And
what did they say afterwards?
I mean, they don't say a lot. Honestly, I don't think they know what to say. Like, they say well done. They say they're proud, and I know they are.
Yeah.
It's more their actions, but they don't know the right thing to say. They.
I suppose in a way, when you're not a bodybuilder and you're not actually active within the sport,
it's a weird thing. I remember when I got into it.
Yeah.
And I genuinely, when I started, when I committed to my first show, I didn't think there would be much of a future because I knew how I looked and I knew how other people looked, and I thought, I'll get on stage, I'll be glad I've done it. But the way I am, I'm not an overly extrovert person. I didn't think I'd enjoy being in little pants on stage in front of people.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid to say I love it.
Well, I can't say I was the opposite end. I mean, I'm quite, extrovert in that respect. But it's amazing how many people are quite, what you say, introvert.
Yeah.
And yet find their feet and
this is it. I remember getting off stage and it was the biggest buzz, and I thought, I'm going to do that again.
Yeah.
When leading, you would have asked me an hour before I got on stage.
What was it? Seriously, what was it that you think that really
I think for
resonated
me,
with you?
Like I at every prep I've ever done, I've put my all into.
Yeah.
And that first one was probably the hardest because, when you get started, it's, when have you had to really limit your food outside of competition like that? The first time is huge, and just so many kind of things to get over, and, the lethargy, the mental kind of battles. So to get there and to get on stage and to be 100% proud I'd done everything that my prep coach had told me to do.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was it. It was that display and that moment of going, it's so worth it. And every show I've done, I've enjoyed being on stage because I know I couldn't have given any more.
Yeah.
I think if and when it comes to a point where, I don't know, something might get in the way during prep and I don't present my best, I probably won't enjoy it half as much.
Right.
But it hasn't happened till now, and touch wood, it won't happen.
So let's going back. I mean, from being you was a swimmer.
Yeah.
So what clicked and made you go, I'm gonna go to?
I always wanted to be big, mate. Like how many kids look at cartoons and think, I want to be the Incredible Hulk. I was going
to say, there's got to be something.
We
refer to it as call to action, innit? Something grabs you and you go.
So I think as soon as swimming finished,
I
thought I've suddenly got 40 hours a week back.
Yeah.
That I've been banking in the pool.
Yeah. And
I was at uni. Lectures were sporadic, and if I'm honest, not overly important.
Yeah.
So I was a full-time bodybuilder from day one when I started. Yeah, sure, my training wasn't where it should have been, and my food was a constant learning process, but I put everything into it, and each week, each month, each year, I knew more, and I did it better. So I think just making that decision to swap swimming was, I could never not do anything. I think like yourself, if when I finish bodybuilding, there will need to be another goal fairly quickly, be it business, be it whatever. I can't imagine, and I'm attracted to people who have that drive and who have an ambition.
Yeah.
I don't like, as bad as it sounds, spending time with people who are just going through the motions and
people are different, but I know exactly what you're relating to, because it's one of them. It sounds to me, it's like most people simply exist.
Yeah.
But but how many people are truly living?
Yeah, exactly. And that's it. Like, people talk about balance a lot in this day and age, don't they? People love the balance word. But, someone else's balance, if applied to my life, I'd hate it.
Yeah.
Tell me to just relax for the weekend, Josh. Do this. Don't train so hard. Why are you focused on every meal? Because I love it. And I want to be better. And I know what's required. Yes, from a general point of view, that is not a balanced lifestyle, but for me...
But your lifestyle isn't I know what you're saying.
Happier.
Yeah.
So, if balance is going to come at the cost of happiness, then that's not right.
Well,
it's not like I'm kind of frivolous with my health or anything like that. I do everything as well as I can.
Yeah.
And, a big fan of just bodybuilding.
Yeah, but it sounds. I mean, it's really interesting you should say that, because I mean, there are times where I've gone, could I have balanced things a bit more? But it's you've really hit the nail on the head there. I think. I mean, it is really dependent on what makes you. It's all about happiness as well. What makes you happy? One man's meat's another man's poison.
Yeah.
And like you say, when we're talking about an extreme sport, and I don't care. I do see it as a sport.
Yes.
Some people argue that, and I say, well, no, of course it's a sport.
100%.
And. For me, it's you've got to actually be, you've got to have that real drive and discipline.
Yeah.
I've always used that term. I think the way I look at bodybuilding is, it's the one thing that will find you out one way or the other.
Yeah. You learn what a prep will teach you a lot about yourself. I think, and that's why, like, whenever I take anyone on as a prep client.
Yeah.
You got to make sure their head's in the right place if they've got other things going on. You know, it's about appreciating that you'll be tested more than you can ever imagine.
I say that to people. I warn people, you know, if they ever want me to help them get ready, I say, listen, I'm not here to mollycoddle you.
Yeah.
Trust me, I'm not here to do that, because, you know, I remember when I first was competing and I went to see Kerry Kayes, and I saw the likes of Gary Shelmerdine, but I remember specifically seeing Ian Atkinson, the middleweight champion, 2 times he won it. And it was up close, and it was like looking something as though it had been carved out of stone. His condition was off the scale. And it was like, wow. And Kerry just turned around, that's how you got to look. You know? Yeah. He said, that's what you got to aim for. He said, you know, and I always remember the comment he stated, he said, it's better to be on stage in absolute ripped, rock-hard condition, slightly flat, than being this oversized and overfull and just slightly off. Basically, you know, you've overspilt a little bit, and that always stuck with me. And so I was under no illusions. Whereas I look at probably a lot today, I don't think they really appreciate the level of conditioning. Yeah, I'm not saying that some guys don't. Some guys, I mean, look at the universe. Yeah. Yourself was in great nick. Chris Jones. Yeah. The Australian guy who won the over 40s. God, yeah. What the hell? Over 40s. Yeah. You know.
I mean, that rear shot with his glutes and his arm. Yeah. I mean, that was when I saw that.
He had Tony Mount as well. You know.
Yes. Yeah. You know. I think, and you know, the guy came third in my class. I know everyone. Do we know who that was? I know everyone off. I'm friends with him. I talk to him. Yeah. I'm friends with everyone on Instagram, so I know he's like at Live Brother, I think. It's going to really bug me, and he's going to watch this. So
I'm sure Chris in the background is scurrying away somewhere on the computer.
But like his condition was awesome. Yeah. And I think you and Eddie covered it in your first podcast. Yeah. Bodybuilders back in 90s, early 2000s. Yeah. That was probably the heyday. I'd agree. I know you guys said it with some kind of hesitation, but that's the total look.
Eddie touched on that, and I didn't really sort of ponder too much on that, really. And I think the reason why was because the subconscious was aware of Eddie came from the 80s through the 90s into the early 2000s. I was through the 90s and 2000s.
Oh, sorry, Kevin.
Yeah. Kevin.
I do like you. I can't remember your name.
Yeah. Yeah. But and talking of which, I mean that lease on Joel from Korea.
I watched your coverage of the overall. Having a little ego moment the other day. I thought I'd watch myself.
Hey, listen, you should be proud. You were up there, right up there.
And I mean, bless you, your coverage and your commentary was very generous to myself. But he was something else. He really was.
I was like, where's he?
What? I stood next to the guy, and you know, I appreciate the size.
You see, sorry for interjecting that, because I'm looking on the screen. We weren't close up, so I'm like, I wish it was where the judges were. Yeah. But you're there. What? Come on, tell us this, because I was like, wow, so, this kid.
Hand on heart, he looked full and round. Yeah. But I didn't think his conditioning was as good. No, but actually, when he hits his poses, he comes alive, like big time.
That can happen,
and it pops through. Like I remember, next to him there, and I knew I was beat. Yeah, I'm a realist.
No, which is honourable of you. You know what I mean? And I found that
I know where my weaknesses lie, and I know
that's nice. You know,
for me, I know where I can be, and I know I'm still got a lot to go. So. But just when he hits everything, you know, his midsection there, relaxed, you wouldn't have thought he'd get through some of those lines. Again, his back fairly soft, and then it just pops like hell when he hits his poses.
Very. I mean,
and it's the fullness as well. Yeah. I think if we had the commentary on, you were talking about the thickness of his back.
That's just what I say. You look at that, you know, the thickness and again, quite. You can see he's fairly soft, but I don't think he's fully tensing as well.
Yeah, this is the funny thing. Like people's posing,
referring to the posing, how much of importance do you put on?
Massive. I've beaten better guys. I've had photos at expos with guys I've competed against. Yeah. And as gym bodies go, like, you know, a guy you see in the gym and you think that guy's a monster. I get smoked hands down on photos. But I can pose and I know what looks good on me. And there are a few guys out there who maybe if I was a nicer person, I'd tell them how to pose better. But because I know I'm against them, I'll just let them find out on their own.
But listen, at the end of the day, why help the enemy? I mean, I remember doing that. It was with Tricky Jackson. And this is quite funny. I got told off by Neil Hill and Lee Powell. We were all out when we did the Tampa and that, and I'm giving some tips to Tricky Jackson the next day, like, and they're like, "What are you doing that?" And the next week he beat us both. Well, he got placed ahead of us. I don't believe at the time he should have done, but it was one of them. I'm going, "Oh God, trying out."
It's huge. Like you see, and I know my posing can always get better, but I spend, in that last 4 weeks before a show, I'll be posing twice a day for 15-20 minutes. So after training and after cardio.
And I tell you what, how do you find? I mean, it's exhausting.
I hate it.
I hate it.
And I like being on stage in shape. Yep. I don't like being in my boxers in the gym and like posing in front of a mirror. I don't like people looking at me then. No. But it's a necessary evil, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
And for people who don't, and you can tell when guys who either haven't practiced, because it's a holding a pose as well. Yeah. It's hard work, and you can practice and you can hold that endurance, but I still think it's a different ballgame when you're up on stage and your adrenaline's through you, if your breathing's elevated, and it's harder to keep your midsection.
You're not quite as in that calm situation when you're just doing it.
But
every
imagine,
day,
I've always practiced, but I can only imagine if you'd never practiced and then went there, you've got no hope.
You see people like. I mean,
shaking.
Well, I'll tell you one of the worst ones for it, and it was obvious for me, and he was at the top of his game, and that was that Paul Dillett.
Yeah.
The amount of times he always remember, and he's shaking like that, and I'm thinking, when you're at that level, you've got to have it nailed.
Part of the sport.
It's essential. Because like we've said there, I've seen shows won and lost, and you've seen the better guy lose simply because
you can't display what he's got. Yeah.
No. Is it something that you taught yourself, the posing?
Yeah, again, I think Max and Rich Kozdecki had a huge part in this. Okay. So I first probably became really good friends with them in 13, 14. I did my first Nabba show in 14. And I popped over. Rich has got a gym called the Workout Mill in Leamington Spa, and I'd go over there, and not overly frequently, but enough that they'd put me through my paces. I could then go away and implement what they'd kind of shown me and told me, and they both got a great eye. And again, they're people who don't bullshit. Yeah, I think. Was it 15? So, despite being a natty, Kozdecki did the Nabba Midlands in 2015 against myself. Now, he had a little get-together in his gym about 4 weeks before. Max was doing the show as well. And him and Max did some posing. And they were like, "Oh, God, Josh, do a bit of posing for everyone." Yeah. I was like, no. I wasn't in shape. Yeah. Even though it was 4 weeks, I wasn't in shape. And Rich came up to me after and said, "You're still fat then," straight as it is. Yeah. And that got the fire burning. I then went on and beat him, and I still wasn't at my peak, but I was aiming for the British that year. Like, that was 1 year where I knew I could qualify at 90%. I don't like going into shows less than that, but with the British 3 weeks later, I knew I could go in nearly there and just really tighten up.
So that was, you was 4 weeks out, you said then, at the time?
4 weeks
when
out.
When he came out with that comment?
Yeah.
So how much did you actually drop from that?
I can't remember how much I dropped, but I tightened the screw a lot. But to be honest...
Sometimes you need a kick in the nuts, don't you? Or slap across
I always
the face,
come in late. Yeah. Like, no matter how hard I work early, I don't feel good. I'm always panicking, and especially in my own prep. Right. I always don't... Like 4 to 6 weeks out, I'm thinking...
Well, how long do you give yourself normally just when you start your prep then?
16 weeks. I like to give, yeah. So if I'm doing... this year I did 2 shows.
And what was you on stage at the Universe? What did you weigh? What was your starting point, and then what did you end up walking on stage at?
So I think I was about 320 when I started prep, 287 on stage.
Right, okay.
So 20 stone 7.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
And like I said, I've been heavier going into a prep before and lost more. I think that's the thing. Each year, it's knowing that you don't have to balloon a huge amount.
Again, see, I found that because and a lot of people found that this very hard to believe. But the last show that I did was the British Grand Prix 2011. And I actually started my prep at 203 pounds, and I walked on stage at 202.
A big pound drop.
A pound drop, but it was like because I knew. because I'd had a long break, if you like, from using anabolics and that, and I was never a heavy user. And then when I did start the prep, everything, the volumization. So I started at 203, went up to 212 within 2 weeks. I was doing 2 lots of cardio, and then I came and just coasted in, But I always try and say to people is, and this is what I might try and help you with, anyway. I always aim to be like Doz did, and I want it to be ready a good 3 or 4 weeks. Literally, I was a pound or 2 away. With 4 weeks ago, but that seems to be, you seem to struggle.
So for me, I struggle to get in condition 3 weeks before a show, unless I've got a show. So for me, I'll always do a show before I do my main show. Okay. So this year was.
Do you think is it a psychological thing then?
Potentially, like I need that deadline to kind of push to a degree too. Wow. So like for example, this year the PCA JP. I came into that. In fact, I think I was light. I think I was about 285 for that. Right. But I knew I had a bit to lose, not much, but it got me going. It got me really fired up to go hard for that show. So then I knew, I've got 3 weeks till the uni, and I can very much kind of cruise through. Carved up more, came in fuller, came in drier, came in everything better.
So what did you learn and take something from that?
I knew every prep I've done, I know I can carb up more if I'm lean. When I'm lean, I've never been too full.
Do you carb deplete, carb up? What's your protocol when you're coming into the
so I tend to be, I don't eat much towards the end of prep. I think this year will have been 2,500 calories for like the last month of prep, with about 180, 200 carbs. So I'm kind of
I'm surprised that'd fill your foot.
Yeah, exactly. I have a refeed, so I implement refeeds. Right. So every maybe Saturday or Sunday, I'd put in kind of anywhere from 1,000 to 1,600. Yeah. And then I'd kind of again each week it'd almost be like a depletion, and then I'd fill up, and it got I like it because it gets my body used to. And it gets my mind and my eye in for what's working. Yeah. I think if you go into a carb up blind, it's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I won't carb up or I won't refeed until I'm lean enough. It's not like 16 weeks out. I go, Saturday's here. Put in loads of carbs.
Wow. God, I was eating about. I used to eat. I was eating 370 grams of carbs every day minimum. And I had to put it up to about 440, 450 for the last good 2 weeks out from the last show. I was always eating. I was even wanting to chew my arm off, even on that. So I don't know how you must have felt.
Well, this is it. At first I thought I was there. I've always kind of been down around that mark. Yeah. And it's not. I start at a good level of prep, and it's consistent down to that point. But that just seems to happen where I can still function well. I still train really well. Yeah. Cardio and general day-to-day stuff is hard, but it gets me in the shape I need to be in. And you do what you got to do.
So let's backtrack then. So you're off season. You're 16 weeks out. Yeah. How do you actually start that? How's your protocol, and what's your method of getting into
by that point, food's going to be for me probably sitting somewhere between 5,500, 6,000 calories when I start prep. Yeah. So I won't bring cardio in for a couple of weeks. It'll be food to begin with. Right. Be quite aggressive with that maybe. I know from experience around the 4,000 mark is where my body will start really shifting down like through the gears and body fat coming off. Yeah. I'd like to bring cardio in fairly early, but at a very low level, 20 minutes, 15 minutes, because it's a habit thing for me. Yep. I think I've always done it, but also, the idea of starting cardio 6 weeks out when you're already quite tired, that added energy. By the time 6 weeks comes out, I'm so used to doing cardio that I don't even think about it. Yeah. But if someone said, right, you've got to do 6 sessions a week and you've done none.
Do you do any cardio in the off season, by the way?
No, I always tell myself I'm good.
Really?
I am.
Come here.
This is this is where I'll kind of try and justify it. But because I'm on my feet kind of all day with work, I try and keep my activity levels at a level where, I'm moving around quite a bit. However, and I've not started this off season yet, so
we're all different, but I always say to people, I'd usually aim for a good 3 sessions. And even looking back in the off season, I knew when I got lazy and I thought, I'm not doing this. I could feel it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm doing a leg session or big back session. I'm blowing.
Yeah,
I'm thinking,
you do notice that.
The reason why I've strongly urged people to do it is because it also keeps your metabolic rate going. You know, I found that I like that with my food.
Yeah.
Oh God, I mean, I can't eat.
It's my guilty. Like I tell, and this is where, do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah.
I tell people who I'm involved with. They'll be like, all right, off season. I'll be like, right, keep a bit of cardio in.
Yeah.
Again, 2-3 sessions. Exactly. Yeah, here I am.
I know that. Yeah. So is it going to change then for you in the offset? Are you going to start implementing?
Pretty much every off season starts and it's there. Like I start well.
Yeah.
It doesn't last long.
It doesn't last.
So I'll try. Is it on my resolutions? I wrote some resolutions down.
I was going to ask you. That's a good question. I meant to ask you. Did you give yourself any New Year's resolutions?
Yeah.
Something I never do.
I mean, like I do. So this year, a lot of it's to do with my phone. You know how phones are taking over.
We all fall victim to it. I despite what people say, and I go, I hate it, but it's like you find it gripping you, and you're like, oh God.
Yeah. So there's a few ones there. Like I do, obviously through my Instagram, I do training videos. I do them myself. I just have a little tripod, but obviously because you've got your phone there. The temptation to go on it is greater, and I'll always tell guys again, maybe say as I do, not do as I say, not as I do. Don't have your phone. Don't go on your phone while you're training.
Oh no, yeah.
And for the most part, I stick to that.
Yeah.
But filming bits and bobs and having it there. So the first one is no phone, airplane mode on, and that's it. You can film,
focus.
You can't do anything else.
Yeah.
And then like the others are just like phone in bed at night. Again, I just want to maximise quality of sleep and looking at a bright screen.
Yeah.
I sleep, like I said, I sleep well.
Yeah.
But what if I could sleep better? How much?
Because
extra 0.5%.
Well, they actually say, don't they? I mean, it's like the phones, Chris, as well. They say if you're actually looking at them prior to going to bed, right up to going to bed, it's
that bright light. It's melatonin. It's everything.
Yeah.
Your body thinks, oh well, there's a light there, so I need to be awake. And I know people who have sleep issues. That's a big one.
Yeah.
That I've kind of said, right, just cut it out half an hour before bed, no phone, and they notice a difference. Like I said, it's staying awake that's the problem for me. But last year, there's a lot of times I'm waking up because I dropped my phone on my head.
You're kidding. I like that one.
Yeah, honestly, and I know it's time to put it away and turn the light off.
You're the opposite to me, because when I was getting ready for
a lot of people
sleep deprivation. It was horrible.
Yeah, I feel sorry for you.
I'm so well. You go and you probably get an hour or two, and then next minute it's like you're just lying there and you're sort of like meditating if you can, as best.
Just trying to relax.
And I'm not the greatest of sleepers now.
Did they have phones when you were competing?
Well, no, actually. Look, and in a way, I'm
distraction.
93. Yeah, right. But I remember resisting the temptation of getting a phone, and eventually I caved in. And in a way, I'm glad, because you look at the era we were in. It was like we weren't distracted by social media, and it was like you go into the gym, you didn't have access to see who's doing what.
Yeah.
It was just like, you'll hear, such and such is, and it was great. It was just you, the gym. It was in its purest form. I don't know what your view is on that, but you look at...
I like social media because I can see, like, from a business point of view...
Exactly.
It's helped me with what I do.
Yeah.
And that's why I post. You won't find many, maybe more in the past couple of weeks, but you won't find many selfies.
Yeah.
My Instagram is very training, all competition shots I'm proud of.
Yeah.
A little bit of an insight into bodybuilding and what it means to me.
Yeah.
But again, that can have a direct effect on people going like, oh, well, like, he looks great, or he trains. I like the way he looks. His training looks. I'll get in touch with him and see if he can help me out. But like you said about, you don't know what other people look like back when kind of you were competing this year. And I don't normally let it get to me, but there were a couple of guys who I was like, Jesus, they look so good. You will have, I think you definitely he caught your eye at the university. In my class, a young Brazilian kid, really full muscles.
Very.
And his Instagram pictures, he looks insane. My God, I was looking at that kid and thinking, well, second place would be good again, I suppose. And then I saw him in the flesh, and I thought, I'm 30 kilos heavier than you and a foot taller. Not.
Do you think sometimes the pictures can sort of like be, I don't know, sort of like make them look manipulated.
Yeah.
Some people do it, some people don't, but
some
makes them
people
look
know.
better.
Yeah.
See, for me, that I think I found that when I was again the latter years, the forums were about and people saying, "Oh," and I did it was more of a case of one or two people saying, "John, you need to," and I don't really want to do it. And so I did. Me and Lee, we did a forum where we were open about how our prep was going, what we were eating. But we didn't explain about it, didn't go into detail.
Yeah, just saying that.
But put some pictures of them, and I went, no, I'm not doing that. I'll let you know how I'm doing, and how I feel about it. Yeah. And then I may have dropped just one picture in or something like that at some point. But it was begrudgingly, because I didn't really want anybody to see.
No, I'm the same. Again.
And then, because you don't want to sit and they go, well, you look great there, but you look, and I knew that weren't going to be the case. I
think that's what would mortify me is, I look at pictures of on stage, and they're the best pictures I have in my collection. Yeah. And I do track. I take videos of myself posing for my own reference. But I think this year, the first picture, it was all training videos or old photos. The first photo I dropped, so to speak, was about a week out from the JP Classic, and got a lot of positive attention because I was a week out. I looked mint. But you've got guys posting 10 weeks, 6 weeks. Yes, it's nice to see their journey. Is it? I don't know. It doesn't bother me because it's not my journey.
Do you think it's again they're being sort of like wrapped up in the social media attention, and do you think it's
potentially?
I'm not saying it in a bad way, but that's how it can grab you.
Yeah.
The people are looking for these likes and this attention.
Yeah, and I do think people get into bodybuilding. For again, I started in 2010. Instagram wasn't about then.
No.
So I got into bodybuilding for what I call the right reasons.
Yeah.
And I'm sure some people do just do what they do for Instagram. They're Instagram bodybuilders. Yeah. They haven't got any titles, but they've got thousands of followers. It's all well and good if that's what you want to do it.
Yeah.
But that's, for me, I'll always be most proud of the trophies on my shelf, the pictures from shows that I have. But you can't avoid it, can you?
No, you can't. And you see, for me, I was like you. I got into bodybuilding because I remember looking at, like you say, the Incredible Hulk, Rambo. I mean, Sylvester Stallone was a massive impact on me. So was Arnold, and then the magazines. I'm just thinking, shit, man, how do these guys? How they got to look like? How do you look like that? Yeah. I'm thinking, I'd love to look like that one day. And then, that was the seed that was sown, and then as the years go by, I didn't jump into it straight away.
Yeah.
I messed around with gym, in the gym and that, and then when I was sort of like, I moved to Spain, I think it was, for a year, and that's when I started training. And then it transpired from there, and then I found that I had this desire. I knew it. I wanted it. And for me, there was no distraction other than that. And I'm glad in a way, because I'm going to sit here and say, well, could I have fell victim to the social media?
Yeah.
Who knows? You just don't know. It wasn't around then.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd like to think I didn't.
Yeah. And it definitely impacts, I massively appreciate everyone who follows me.
Yeah.
And it does, I suppose, add a little bit to, I'm not an ego, but it does make me feel better about myself.
Well, I think we all have a bit of it. Everyone out there's an ego in us at some point. It's just how you respond to that. Yeah. You can either be better than everyone, or you can be the same as everyone and just appreciate the attention that you get. Yep.
And I really do appreciate that. But again, I am grateful that I got into bodybuilding before that was even about. Mm-hmm. And I've kind of stayed true to that path.
Yeah.
Like I said, I do it to look better each year.
Yeah.
Whether I get 1 million likes on a photo or I just look better. That's what's more important, is the fact that I'm looking better and I'm improving for myself.
I'd be happy if I got 1,000 likes. Got 1,000 here.
I'd be massively ambitious there.
So which one do you, which platform do you
Instagram is the easiest.
And does that then, do you configure that so that goes onto your Facebook?
So kind of, and like Facebook's a bit of a non-entity now.
Right.
Like I'd like to make that more of a private thing.
Yeah.
But I made the mistake of kind of letting everyone into that, so I'm slowly kind of dwindling it down to people I actually have met or know.
Yeah.
But Instagram, and it is good, like, and it does give you a lot of access, and the messages that I get and I've given to other people as well who have inspired me.
Yeah.
And you can message some guys. There's no way in hell that I'd ever be able to speak to Flex Wheeler.
No,
without that. Yeah. Flex Lewis sent me the nicest message after the universe.
Oh,
completely unprompted. Yeah. But that made that weekend that much better. To look on your phone and see someone who is who he is.
Yeah.
I've been lucky to meet Flex through BSN when he was sponsored by them.
Just got to say, you are actually good point that, because you are sponsored by BSN. Are you sponsored by anybody else?
I'm sponsored by Monster Factory as well.
Monster Factory.
So Mick Millington up in Redcar. He's just a small, local gym up there.
Yeah.
And he has this clothing line, and Mick's been there since 2012 when I was not a monster. But he had
that's
faith.
Good.
He saw something in me.
Oh, that's really nice to hear that.
Yeah, no, I'm eternally grateful. Like, the agreement we have is, he gives me his clothes. I bought his clothes initially.
Right.
And what did I win?
Did you ask him, or did he come to you?
He's the only person I've ever asked to be sponsored by.
Okay.
And 2012, far from monster, but I just won the intermediate under over 90 at UK BFF Leamington.
Yep.
And I thought, wow, there was only 2 of us in the class, but it's a win.
Yeah.
I said, listen, mate, I love your clothing. I've just bought some. Are you looking for athletes or anything like that? And, he said, yeah, let's give it a shot and see what happens. And, we're still
6
here.
years, coming into 6 years.
Coming into 6 years.
That's good, that.
He's seen me go from a nobody in bodybuilding to Mr. Universe. His gym and his clothing range has grown as well.
Brilliant.
And, he's always been a real support. Like we see each other maybe once, twice a year at expos, but he's always there. He, if I need anything, he'll send it through. And like I say, it's something that I generally love representing.
Yeah.
And I'm really proud that.
So big shout out to Mick.
Big shout out to Mick. Yeah.
Awesome. And so how did the BSN sponsor come out then?
So they got in touch with me in 2014 before the Nabba Britain. I still don't know how, because I wasn't big on social media.
Yeah.
I didn't do a lot. I think it was through some other guys who were sponsored by Optimum Nutrition, and they must have asked them, are there any athletes that you maybe can put forward?
Yeah.
Now, they took a while to sort anything out with me, so they got in touch with me before the Nabba Britain. I came second to Lee Harding that year. I then did the Worlds and came fourth, and it was only towards the back end of that year that we got contracts signed. But then since then, I've been with them, and they've seen me grow. They've been with me through the journey. They've helped me in terms of obviously supplements, and they're generous with covering expenses for shows and stuff.
Oh,
I'm not saying that. I couldn't like, I'm not an athlete in terms of I couldn't work or couldn't not work.
Not work. It's not the sponsorship where these guys. And
realistically,
it was Ronnie with because it was the guys.
Ronnie's been BSN. Dennis has been BSN.
Yeah. He was the first one to get the $1 million contract, wasn't he? It was Ronnie.
Yeah. Yes.
And that was it with BSN.
Huge, yeah.
I remember when it took off. It came from nowhere, and boom! Next minute, they utilised Ronnie, and
massively.
They went massive.
I think, I'm where I lie within their framework is. They don't push many other athletes in the same extent. They don't have any. Obviously Flex was with them until a year, 2 years ago.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah,
and I don't think since then they really have any really high profile guys.
Yeah.
But like I said, for the support they give me is more than enough.
Yeah.
I'm not greedy. I like the work that I do.
Yeah.
If someone said you were just a bodybuilder, that would almost be a bit too intense, I think, for me. Like, I like having other things going on that I can work around my bodybuilding, but that keep me grounded, keep me talking to people, keep me with a focus externally as well. Yeah. But no, they're great to me.
So when you say that, I mean that point there. I mean, what other things are in your life that sort of? I mean, obviously, I know we said you were intense and that.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not so much a balance, but the other interests that you have.
No, like I'm not, and I'm not stupid. Bodybuilding is what bodybuilding is. For me, it's a passion.
Yep.
For me, it's something I do believe there is potential to make money out of on its own. But I'm a personal trainer.
Yeah.
And, like we discussed earlier, I personally am one of those people who I'll only look for advice off of people who I like the way they look or appreciate what they've done.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to think that by doing what I do, and I know it ties in with how well I do business-wise, because I can see that through the years as I've grown, so has business. But having that, I work at a gym in Nottingham called M10, owned by Mark Coles, who's quite big within fitness on the education side of things, and he's taught me a hell of a lot that I've applied to both business, my training and my clients' training. But the clients that I train on a one-to-one basis, they're normal people.
Yeah.
So that in itself doesn't. I don't have. Like, they don't know. Some of them don't even know I'm Mr. Universe.
Really?
You know what I mean? And I love that because they just talk at me like not that anyone should maybe hold me in regard. Like I'm not after that.
No, I know what you mean.
I don't want people to bow down on my feet. But at the same time, it's nice. They'll go, "Oh, how's the show at the weekend? Oh, good. I won it. Oh, well done." That's it.
That's it.
Yeah. How was your weekend? Yeah, good. Went well with the kids. Like, you know what I mean? That's it. Job done. It keeps me talking to them, and it has.
So the fundamentally, then I'm getting the impression that most of your clients are just general people who want to just get
healthier, get fitter, have a holiday.
Yeah.
Like I have an online side of things, and that being slightly more affordable, I think, to a lot of younger guys.
Yeah.
That's where I get more of my competitors.
Yeah.
And guys I'll help with preps or photo shoots or more kind of things that maybe I have more impact on because it's more. I am more passionate about that side of things. Obviously, it's what I've done myself. Yeah. I love helping and transforming guys who have that drive. Yeah. But at the same time, I love helping someone feel better about themselves and come into me and go, "Josh, I dropped a jean size. I'm a belt buckle down. I'm playing with my kids more.
That's a big one.
It's huge,
isn't it?
I think that's actually affecting people's lives, and that's
having a positive impact.
Yeah, when you get messages from people saying like, I went on a holiday and I wore a bikini.
Yeah.
I can never imagine going on holiday and covering up, like, but people do, and then to have that.
Where you've had such a positive impact in their life.
It doesn't need to be, Josh got me in the best shape of my. Well, it is the best shape of their life, but if you're comparing it to our expectations of what being in shape is, sure, but
we're the extreme.
It's building confidence, and it's it can be as simple as that. And like, I love that massively.
So would you say so is it the vast percentage of your clients fall into that category then?
Yeah.
How many people then, do you help sort of like within the bodybuilding side of things then?
And like realistically, probably 80% are in-house clients who just go around their day-to-day business. Yeah. Probably 20% who have an ambition or actively compete. I would like to increase that. Yeah. But
do you find some of them are hard work?
The competitive guys? Oh God, I've met some bitches.
I'm just going to say because oh my God, I've gone. I'm very unforgiving. Like,
no.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
and I've had it where on one or two occasions it's like, and we used to laugh at me and Kerry, back in the day, and you go, "Have you heard them? They're talking to us as if we'd never done this before. They're the only ones suffering." It's like, well, if you don't like it, get out. Yeah. Stop doing it.
Well, don't ask for my advice if you're not going to take it.
That's the worst thing.
Like again, this is where Instagram is a blessing and a curse. I try not to leave any message unanswered. Yeah. It's how I'd like to be treated. It's how I try and treat others.
Exactly.
Unless they're stupid questions. Yeah. Or just rude questions. But some people don't like the advice I give. When it comes, they'll go, "Oh, I want to do this." They'll send me photos. They're not even paying me. They'll go, "I look like this. I want to compete in 8 weeks." If they're not ready, I'm going to say, "Listen, you're not ready. Either hire a coach. It doesn't have to be me, but whatever you're doing,
it's not
isn't working or needs to be done at a high level."
Did you find it's the old adage, isn't it? They want everything. They want you to reaffirm everything that they're doing. It's like,
well done. You're doing great. You look great. I'll say that if you do look great, and I'll be, the physiques I admire, I will tell them proudly. But if you're not ready, you're not ready. It doesn't.
Yeah, we used to have a standing joke when there was a lot of people used to come to see us at CMP back in the day, and it was Scott and Kerry. They'd turn around and they'd go, we'd all be there looking, and then you'd be waiting for the bombshell, and then John would go, and he'd turn around and look at me, and I'd go, yeah. Right, okay. Well, I'm not being funny, but... Yeah. And they just went, oh, here we go. But it was like, I had to say what I seen. You know, I'm not here to sugarcoat
But that's advice that matters.
You know what I mean? But Kerry, in a way, Kerry was brutal. I seen guys walking out who'd come in to see him and literally the tail between the legs. But, you know... I'm not going to tell, like you say, I ain't going to say that you look great if you're not looking great.
What would you rather? Would you rather someone...
Be stood on stage in a pair of bloody briefs for
Christ's sake. You're not going to hide
anywhere.
Right, exactly.
I'm going to hide in the... No. Yeah. So you're not going to...
I'd rather one person tell me I don't look right, yourself or whoever, than the whole auditorium go away and go...
Well, it's like sometimes we're a bit ruthless. Say we can be construed as when me and John Bridge are doing the commentary at some of the shows.
I love your commentary. It's so refreshing.
Really appreciate it. what? So is it? Go on. What we've got to tell us?
Well, the fact that you will say how it is.
We have to.
But then it makes the compliments actually worth something.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? When I listen back and you guys are praising me, I know you've not praised everyone on stage that day. No. So that means that praise is heartfelt and earned.
We're trying to be constructive. And if people take it personally, it's like, well, no, we're saying it as we see it. Yeah. We can't be anything other than that because it's not being. We're not being true to ourselves. Yeah. That's one thing I'll always say. I know about me is that I'll just say it as it is. I say it as I see it, and I'll always go and shoot, straight and tell the truth. But we're trying to help.
Yeah, it's not like I've never looked at your coverage and thought they've just ripped someone apart. You've gone. Soft, needs to come in tight in next show, legs need to be better, conditioning from the back needs to be better, whatever it may be. It's never like you've just gone, oh, they don't look great, and left it there. If they're watching that back, and like with myself, you compare me to that Korean guy, and the guy's got more tissue. Yeah. You're not telling me that I'm small, but you're telling me that I can certainly be better, and I know that, and I want to hear that. It's again, like I said, that's bodybuilding for me. Yeah. It's progression. Like, if ever...
Some people throw the toys out of the pram.
And this is something I can never understand.
No, I don't.
It's such a critical sport. And that's the whole bodybuilding is being criticised. Yeah. The judges are criticising you, whether they place you first or they place you fourth. Even the guys who put you first, I'm sure there'll be things they'll say. I rarely get feedback from judges because I personally know where I need to improve. Yeah. And I think if you don't...
would you say you're your own worst critic?
I think you need to be.
Because I was
top level.
Definitely.
If you want to really push yourself on, you need to be, and that's why whatever you say will never be as scathing as what I've already said to myself.
It's refreshing, but it's good to hear that because that's how I think that's how everyone should be. But there are people I've met where they go, they just, if they were chocolate, they would eat themselves. You don't get in that though, and you're thinking, well, hold on a minute, And I've come across one or two people like that, and you think, well, you should be realistically be your own worst critic. Yeah. Step back and look and go.
Yeah, people who come off stage and go, I don't understand why this has happened. I don't understand why that has happened.
But do you think that's because you've probably got people in their ear telling them that?
Maybe that's why it's a blessing. I prep myself, and outside of Max and Rich and a couple of other guys.
So what are them? I mean, so you're saying that you don't personally have one of these. I don't mean to use the word guru, but prep coaches and stuff like that.
No, I don't.
See, I never had one.
No, I'm a geek. I have from when did I my first prep show 2014 on my laptop. I have got week by week diets, week by week changes in like little folders and Excel sheets. 14, 15, 16, 17, prep, off-season, prep, off-season, prep, off-season. Yeah. So I can go back. Next year I'll look back at this prep and be like, more out of interest than anything, where did I start? What change did I make to cardio? What change did I make to food? What did I bring in? What was my training volume like? And unless you work with a prep coach for that period of time, no, I don't think, really, I would use a prep coach who I knew did things completely different to me.
See, the prep coaches,
as an education side of things.
I mean, I found that the prep coaches came into vogue after Dorian retired. Yeah. And it was, it started to rear its head for me when Ronnie Coleman started competing. And it was...
it's got Hanny Ramboyd.
Hanny Ramboyd now looks after Phil Heath.
But
it was, I don't know, with Ronnie. married to Kim Tversky or something like that. I don't think of his blonde name off the top of my head. It's doing me head in. It'll come back to me. But he again, and then it's sort of like coming to vogue. But I've always found it, for me, I'm one of them, like, unless someone's been there and done it, I'm not saying that some people who haven't done it don't know what they're talking about. But for me, I was surrounded by, there was Kerry, Brian Batchelor, Dorian Yates. I was very fortunate to have good people around me.
Who have experience as well.
Yeah, but I mean, again, it was down to me to cook my food, weigh my food, and I did everything. I used them people, that people I could trust.
Yeah,
who would be honest with me to say, well, what do you think?
Yeah.
Is that where Max and the guys come in?
They'll tell me how it is.
Yeah.
And if I'm doubting myself, sometimes like I might go, Max, like over WhatsApp, this is what I'm at, this is where I feel. Often it's when I can push myself hard. It's sometimes about reining myself back in and being like, I think I deserve a refeed this weekend, mate, but if I'm me, I won't give myself one.
Yeah.
What do you think based off of my weight, based off of my look? And 9 times out of 10 he'll go, yes, you need one, take it, don't feel bad. But honestly, like outside of that, it's just an eye. They'll go, yeah, you're looking on track, or you need to tighten.
I think it's important to have a really good honest eye. Someone who really knows the beans.
They've seen me now for years. Like, Max saw me at the universe. We'll always, I love competing with Max because we'll go backstage and we'll have a look at each other. We'll be like, how are you looking? And he can honestly say, that's the best I've ever looked, or that's the best you've ever looked. And he said that this year. I know I want to win straight away. Yeah. And Max coming back from where he's come back and seeing him progress through the shows. Yeah. Was great to see, and he looked fantastic.
Yeah, he did. I think I was a bit shocked in the way. I was like, I thought.
What, with the Korean or
with Max? I mean, I thought as well. He did, but it was the Korean guy, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
And he was up against that. In one way, I was like, what? But then the more looked, it's just like.
Yeah, like the Korean guy, Max is one of the biggest class 2s. He just so happened to be against the biggest class 2 I've ever seen.
He was. He was just, he was, but very pleasing as well, though.
Yes, yeah.
He really
like
was.
Lines-wise, both of them were on par.
Yeah.
He just got slightly outsized and...
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. But, I mean, again, I just think Max is one of them well put together physiques. Flows beautifully, very pleasing on the eye.
Yeah, and I really hope this. Like Max has never had a full off season due to injury, due to enjoying life too much.
Not saying anything. I don't know.
He can't deny the fact that he's enjoyed past off season.
So he's got great genetics.
Yes. Now this year, I spoke to him on Friday, maybe.
Yeah.
And I said, mate, how excited are you for this year? Like, actually, your injuries are in a good place. Yeah. And I really think I'm going to stay on him and on at him. But
do you think he needs that?
Potentially, but I don't want to overstep the mark with him ever.
No.
But I know he does feel, I think he's in a good place. And I think if he can put an off-season together and a prep, because Max's prep was 16 weeks and he looked like a sack of shit before that. And he managed to go from that to
where he was.
He pretty much did like an off-season.
Could you imagine then if he was like...
Exactly.
If he was like
it's going to be unreal.
Focus. Wow.
Like, so I'm excited to see what he can do.
That will be...
year.
Well, if he can look like he does, like you say, based on his relaxed approach, shall we put it, it's like, God, that's why I'm saying when you look at someone with great genetics will take you so far, but can you imagine if you put the full package together
and I think
really
that's where, like, I would never. I mean, look, you've seen the before photo. I'm not a genetic freak, but
I wasn't either.
And I appreciate the hard work gets you places. Yeah. I've put in the hours, I've put in the years, and I look like I do. So
I mean, going back, we briefly touched on that. What you said about the guys from the 90s and that. I mean, because did you remember a bit? Wait, how? What now?
I mean, I would have only been like really. I only came about the 90s guys when I was in my late teens when I started bodybuilding. So, I was a good part of 10 years behind their peak.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have seen Ronnie in his prime, but I didn't know.
I was backstage. I mean, I've been fortunate enough. I actually competed with every Mr. Olympia since Dorian retired. So I was backstage with Ronnie. I was pumping up with Jay Cutler in 2003. I've been backstage with them. I'm pumping up with them all. But I know everyone goes on about how impressive Ronnie was. Now, whether I'm being a little bit biased, but when I saw Dorian in the flesh, nothing, and I mean nothing, actually made my jaw drop as much. It was just like looking at the most densely conditioned. It was just insane. Yeah, it was like granite. It's just, you had to see it in the flesh to really believe it.
I think that's a lot of it is that appreciation of real life.
How do you think Dorian and Ronnie, if they stepped back on the stage, in your view, would do in the Olympia today? At the best, against the guys today?
I mean, if I was judging, I mean, I still think they're the two greatest. I don't like Phil's shape is special.
It got great fullness.
You don't see the condition. No. Condition now is 212 class. Yeah, you know. I want to see someone just come in and nail it and be
grainy, hard,
unreal,
dry.
Yeah, exactly that.
And what do you think is? Do you think there's a reason for why? I mean, a lot of people will say, well, people go, oh, well, it was the video footage, you know, but
the video footage back then was rubbish, and they still look grainy hard.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, you know, people say, oh, well, you know, it's being bitter and that, and I'm you know, I think there's many people that refer to the 90s as the golden age.
To be bitter about.
No,
and
that's why.
And I still think it.
But this is an interesting thing, because you're now here and now of the modern ilk. You're right in the midst of it. You've won the universe. Yeah. You're up there, and yet you're referring to the 90s as like where it was at its peak. Yeah. Why do you think that is?
I mean, I don't know. Like people.
That's not to say the guys don't look great, because
they
look fantastic.
You're telling me for 1 minute I wouldn't want to look like them. Yeah. Of course I would. Yeah. Of course I would. But if we're looking at it in bodybuilding and over the years and what's my personal favourite look and that, it would have been. And
what do you think? I mean, it would
come down to condition. Like I know what it takes to get in that shape, and maybe it's the respect factor. Yeah. They all work hard, and to be that big, of course they've worked hard. But, and I don't know. I'll be honest, John. I don't know enough about the drug side of things to know what impact that has. Mm-hmm. So, is there an element of size? It's been such a priority that they no longer can't quite get that detail through with whatever is being taken. I don't know. Like,
what is there anything that you would put your finger on? Do you think that might be being used? And
well, obviously growth in insulin in the past years has been massive. You know, since Milos really brought insulin into kind of common circulation, but I've not used either to the extent that I know.
So I mean, obviously, it's an interesting area that we've come to, because it's part and parcel of the protocol of modern day bodybuilding. When we say bodybuilding, been going since the 60s and that.
Sport,
let's get real. But it's interesting that you touch on the growth hormone, the insulin. I mean, is it something that you've used, you know, yourself? And so how have you come? And how's that come about? Or how was it used?
So I've been fortunate to meet and talk to Milos.
Yeah.
So
I know Milos quite well.
So like, and I know guys who have been prepped by him. Yeah. So I know the kind of scale of and protocols that have been used. I've used both growth. I used growth at a low dose throughout the year.
And if you know, how was it used? I mean,
I'll just use it in the evening at kind of 5 IU.
Would that be in one hit?
Yeah. I just don't like pinning too much, so.
Put
that in throughout the year. Yeah. And then insulin, I've used it. I'll use it off season, and I will continuously use it off season.
Right, okay. It's an interesting one, because you got to be so careful with stuff like that.
Yeah, but again, and I've tried pushing Milos-esque protocols. I've not felt good for it. I've not looked good for it. Yeah. So now for me, between 5 to 10 IU, once, twice a day, pre-post workout, something like that.
Pre as well?
If there's a carb meal there,
yeah.
Not pre.
I was going to say that. Bloody hellfire.
So and try. No. So if I'm having that kind of, if I'm having my pre-meal 2 hours before, maybe with that meal, then again, likewise with my post-meal, hour and a half hour later, with that meal, I've tried running it through a prep, and nothing came off, so I dropped it, and it started happening.
So you didn't do it. You wasn't using it during your prep.
No, I'll never.
Yeah.
And guys will say, try it, and protocols while you're refeeding and high carb days, but I don't feel like I need it. I don't feel like it's.
I was never. I mean, I'm not saying I never. I did use it during back in the late 90s. And I always remember, and I just got fat off it. I mean, people say, well, you was using it wrong, or whatever. But it's not something that I'm overly keen on. Yeah. And so, again, throughout my professional career, I wasn't using it. And I just found that, I was more in the trenches and the basics.
Yeah. Well, I remember when I first tried it, I thought, this is the one that's going to blow me up. I'm going to be Marcus Rule at the end of this.
The next.
And then nothing happened.
Yeah.
And I thought, right, well, again, it's just reaffirmed what I've always known. You can't do anything. Like, training and nutrition is everything. Yeah. You can get a few % extra with other bits, but if you're not doing those right and doing those hard, don't bother. So, like I said, now it's an off-season thing. Mm-hmm. And that's where it stays.
What's interesting though is looking back at the picture. How did you first come about to hear about obviously the anabolic steroids, and how did it transfer into you using?
Yeah, I know this is. Can I go to the toilet? I know we're live.
I know. Yeah. So, you know what? I'm glad you said that. Because
so
can I go do one like that?
Everyone, just stay tuned. It'll be 2 minutes. I will come back to that question.
There's a toilet break.
You have one as well, Tom.
Yeah, I might as well, mightn't I? Bloody hell.
Well, me and you will have a quick chat.
Yeah.
If that's all right. I'll put a video on, John? Yeah. I'll put a video on. All right.
I think it's my body trying to.
Just pop your headphones back on there, Josh.
We're good.
Got a couple of questions, if that's all right.
Oh yeah, go for it.
These have come in from Instagram and Facebook.
Oh, nice.
Just pull them up. So, John, just to brief you, a couple of questions that have been sent on social media to us.
Okay.
So, first one, Stephen from Cambridge. Other than winning the universe, what's your proudest moment on stage?
Oh, I think, like I said earlier, like every year I've competed, I feel I've been better. Yeah. So every time I step on stage, I feel very, very proud, knowing the hard work and the fruition of it, and what I look like at the end of it. I suppose winning the Nabba Britain in 2015, if it was another accolade that I was really proud of, and never. I mean, I never thought when I started I'd be here or I've won the Britain, you know. So I think that would be the next one for me.
Okay. We've got David from Plymouth. Here we go. Have you ever considered acting in films?
I mean, It's put to me all the time.
Game of Thrones.
Yeah, Game of Thrones, Vikings.
Definitely. I think I could have swore you'd be brilliant now.
Yeah, like,
you'd be a good Hobbit, John, right?
Well, that or Oompa Loompa, something like that. Yeah, I admit. Well,
yeah.
Tilt your mic down.
Sorry.
Right.
There we go. Get it right in my face.
So, is that a yes or a no? Is it something?
I'd certainly consider it. I think I love what I do, both training and work. And people go, you should do extra work and things like that. I know that you've got to put the hours into that to get somewhere. So unless someone goes to me, if there's any film producers or directors out there and they want to go, Josh, here's a job, do it, I'll do that. But for now, it's not something I'm actively going to pursue.
But this is you got the Viking look about
you.
Well,
I know. Yeah,
6'6", 300-odd-pound monster with come on.
Yeah, that got put on me. That Viking tag got put on me back in.
Is that why you got the beard?
Well, I had the beard in 2014, and then people started saying I look like a Viking.
Yeah.
And I thought I like that.
Yeah.
And I've run with it, and like you say, like Chris noticed, my number plate's Vikings. And
I didn't even see.
Have a look when you're out.
I will do that. That's brilliant.
And I've got. Like,
come on, you must have secretly gone. How do I get into Game of Thrones?
This was. I think this was mentioned a while back. It might have been one of the first times that Napa met you. We said we found a video of Josh on the internet. Just pulling it up now.
Yes.
The dancing Viking.
The dancing Viking. Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah, brilliant.
I think he's got better moves than me.
I was just about to say, can you do moves like that, Josh?
I'm not sure I can, mate.
Wow, he's loving life, isn't he? There,
he is.
Lord.
A couple more questions before we get back to John's podcast. Sorry for interrupting you, John. We've got to get these out there. We've got.
So it's nice that people ask.
Yeah, Peter from Shrewsbury. What's it like when you go out shopping? Do people stir?
I believe they do. Now, I noticed this a lot more 3 or 4 years ago. I was a lot more aware of it. I don't notice anymore, but I know if I'm with my mum or a friend, they'll go, do you know everyone like whispers and looks at you and things? I don't notice it at all, unless someone's very obvious.
Yeah.
I don't. And even if guys are, like sometimes, guys will shout across the street at me. And it's never in a bad way. I always take it as a compliment. It's them acknowledging that I'm a bit different, and I like that.
Well, my brother used to say the same. He said, when I walk, he said he used to drop back away from me, and he said, and I'd watch the reaction of people, and that's me at 5'4", 5'5". Yeah. So, can you imagine that 6'6" weighing 300 pounds?
Well, we're doing it at shows. You can see
even
Josh.
I would look like.
We're doing it at shows. You can see Josh coming a mile away.
Yeah.
Next question. Darren in Warwickshire. Have you ever had any bizarre requests from followers on social media?
Yes.
Can you let us know what they are?
Yep, I've had. So I think everyone has some. Yep, photos ones. Everyone. I've had people asking if they can pay for some photos.
Oh dear.
My one, which I ran with a while, just because I wanted to see exactly what the deal was. Was someone was asking for used socks.
Used socks.
Was like, oh, I'll pay for your socks, and I was like, yeah, sure you can. So I replied, going, yeah, sure.
Soiled socks.
Yeah. I was like,
you got to be
how
come on.
I was like, how dirty? The dirty. Do I get paid more if they're dirtier? Like. And then in the end,
I'll run out in the street in the mud.
And in the end, I just said, "Listen, I'm sorry, mate. I'm just tagging you along." But
have you had any strange requests, John?
I was actually propositioned after the second show I ever did.
Right.
Okay. And I always remember it. It was quite funny because my training partner at the time, Mike. I'm like, oh, Mike, I've been offered a sponsorship, and this guy had said, I think you got a great physique, and I'd really like to sponsor you, and then. After a while of to and fro with the conversation, the guy turned around. I said, "You've not told." You said you want me to come down to London. I said, "I'm not going down to London. I'm getting ready for a show and all this, that, and other." He said, "Yeah, but if you come down to London, I'll pay for you." I said, "What exactly is this sponsorship about? I haven't got a clue." Right. I said, "Not said anything." He said, "Well, let me explain." He said, "I'm gay." He said, "And I think you're a really good-looking guy." I'm on the other end of the phone, like, "What the?" And I'm thinking, so I weren't sure whether this guy was because he was wearing the blazer at the time.
Yeah.
And I thought he was an official, and it turned out he wasn't. And he was backstage as well. I reported it at the time after the event, and the guy got dealt with, like got thrown out after about a year or so. And he said, well, I'd like you to come down and rub oil all over me and me rub oil all over you.
Nice.
And that's the best bit. And then turned around and said, and some of the guys have, wanted to go a bit further and, and had sex with me. And I just went, and I'm like going, I can't, you can't like this one, but I turned around and went, well, let me have a think about it and I'll get back to you. Because I put the phone down because I'm thinking, oh my God, because what do we say? Because I'm thinking, is he official? I didn't want to rock the boat, and I was like really in shock. And then I always remember then, I next time I spoke to him, I said, thanks for the offer, but no thanks. I'm not that way inclined. And it became a bit of a joke between me and my mates. But yeah, that was the best one I had.
It's an interesting sponsorship.
Trust me.
Last one on the list for the time being, we've got Benjamin from Northern Ireland. Do you ever struggle with your size in everyday situations?
Well, I'm going to India, aren't I, on Wednesday?
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
We'll find out exactly. Yeah, I know. Obviously, Body Power organised it for me, and they have got me extra leg room.
Oh, nice.
So that's good of them.
Again, the person you're coming through, and someone sat down and going, "Please, no, not next to me."
Honestly, I've not travelled a lot in the past kind of few years, but BSN have done some shoots over in Ireland. Yeah. I went over to the Worlds in Malta. Yeah. And I obviously, because planes aren't the comfiest, I wait till the end to kind of board. Yeah. So the plane's full. I'm walking down the aisle, and it is that everyone's going, there's a seat next to me that's free. God, is it me? Is he going to be me? And I do feel sorry.
How do you fit in him? I find it uncomfortable now. Yeah. You must be.
My knees are crammed against the seat in front. They don't have the recline option with me behind them. I don't know how kind of bigger people, because they're not wide seats.
No, they're not. That's what I'm saying. You must be touching people.
Oh, well, I often try and go on the aisle, and there'll be a shoulder in someone's face, and a shoulder getting smashed by the trolley every time they go by. But on the whole, I don't notice it a great deal.
Do you ever find it? Do you wonder if there's a request like where you could be at the front?
Maybe,
I mean,
the best seats on planes are the fire exit seats. Yeah. Although you've got the responsibility of letting everyone off the plane.
Like that. Well, if anyone's going to rip the door off in an emergency,
exactly, doesn't matter if I do it the right way or the wrong way. That door's coming off. But no, on the whole, I don't know. I don't notice it a great deal. Like going through doors, I'm pretty much door height. Yeah. So I duck naturally, just out of kind of awareness, but I don't know if I actually need to or not. Yeah. But clothes is the biggest one. Just that's awkward.
Jeans.
Well, I don't have a pair of jeans, but trousers. Yeah. Like I shop at Giacomo, John, which is a company that's notoriously they're now obviously they got Freddie Flintoff kind of, but initially it was Johnny Vegas. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, he started off and I remember when I kind of took the bullet, put the bit of the bullet and went there. I thought, God,
could be a sponsorship there.
Yeah, if they want, all my trousers are from there.
Yeah,
but
so have you got any suits?
No, but I'm a best man at one of my friends' wedding, so I'm getting one tailored this year, which he's paying for.
Is he?
Yeah, well, because I'm best man. Apparently that's how it's done these days.
Is that how it works? So no complaints there then, isn't it?
Yeah, so...
But you can't beat, you can't beat a quality tailored suit.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I really am. So
could be the new James Bond.
We've got 5 minutes before we go offline, John, if you want to finish off.
Oh, God, is that it?
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, we were touching up basically on, the gear aspects and that. How did you actually... how did that creep in eventually? Because obviously being from the swimming, I take it there's a
it's what I mean. Whether guys do it in swimming, I do believe drugs are rife in the sport. Now I was at a top level in swimming, and nothing ever came up.
Right. Yeah.
So be that as it may. So I I was fairly oblivious, to be honest, of any sort of use. Now, I had some really good guys about me who I worked with, who I trained with in the beginning, who kind of breached the subject, so to speak. And they used themselves, and they were very sensible people, very level-headed. You know, people. I think it gets such a bad name, doesn't it? It went in common press, you know, common media. You don't hear about steroids outside of a negative light.
No.
And these guys kind of said to me, listen, you know, people sometimes expect them to change you as a person, and you become this angry, uncontrollable. And they said, listen, if you're an arsehole before you start taking them, they'll make you a bigger arsehole. You're a good guy. They won't, you know, unless you go out of your way, they will not change you. But, and again, they were like, go away, do your research. They gave me some good places to look. Forums were a good place to look at the time, because people were giving honest feedback. And there was some, you know, there's not a lot of kind of genuine educational research. It's a lot of experience. But what was good with the forums was there was some great detail on the compounds and what was what and what was what. So when I started, it was from solid advice from guys who had done it, and through research of my own. And I'm not claiming to be a knowledgeable guy on that side of things. What I know and what I've done is fairly basic from what I understand, but I know what works for me, and I don't feel the need to find some sort of crazy magic thing. You know, I've seen my progress year on year. The proof is in the pudding that whatever I've done has worked, but then I can look at my training and my nutrition, and that has come on leaps and bounds.
But this is where I'm coming, you know, because so many people you hear today who are never going to compete.
I get asked.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm glad you asked that, because, you know, when people see that the before and after, and people, well, you know, it's all just about the drugs.
You try doing like that just on that. Do you know what I mean? Like, I have young guys message me, and these are guys who probably maybe I don't necessarily leave a favourable impression with, because they'll go in with, you know, what should I be taking? And I'm like, I go, how old are you? 18. You should be like, what's your diet like? It's good. Really? Tell me what good means. That's not good. You know. You've got years before you can of development, of really good, strong development that you can achieve. Your
hormones are in full flight.
Yeah, you know, use that. Don't knock it on the head. Use that. And I, you know, in the day and age that we're in, where everything is hard and fast and now, and they are readily available. Really, you don't need to look hard to find someone who can help you. But
what would your advice be to someone, you know, who's hearing all this, the young? What do you tend to say to the people themselves then?
I mean, it's a decision that you need to make, but I can tell everyone from experience that the biggest impact on my physique changes has been food and training. You know, and that's not to say that I haven't pushed other sides of things. But when I look at the things that have the biggest impact, you know, when I've pushed gear and things like that, I've not felt or looked any better for it, and I've not put on any more tissue than just by being sensible.
You tend to find that people, doesn't matter what the amounts you use, but they're not actually marrying it up with the aggressive hard in the trenches training and
even marrying it up. Like, there's still a ceiling.
Exactly.
There's still a point where more is not better.
No.
You know,
I agree.
Harder training, more food is better, but on the gear side of things, you need to be sensible. And again, have people about you who are doing it and who know if that's a route you're going to take. But push things as much as you can with food.
Do you have breaks do you have periods where you have good clean out?
So I know you and Eddie talked about it, not being a huge fan of it.
It's got you.
Yeah,
no,
but again, I'm here to be honest. I do kind of cruise through between cycles, so I'll just run a low dose test. And that'll be it. Now, why do I do that? Because I know I'm going to go back on.
Right.
I don't. For me, where I'm at, to spend the time. Go in, put in a load of other drugs, which PCT drugs are, into me, to then only hold that for a month or whatever, to then smash it all through the ceiling again. You know, my levels are a lot more level by doing it this way. Yeah. Now, the health implications outside of fertility, there aren't really any that I've come across through my own blood work.
Okay, so you're having... So
I take blood work. I don't go to it blind, mate. So I'll do it. I'll probably do it when I get back from India. Yeah. Before I start a proper off season.
It's really important, isn't it?
Yes, it is, because otherwise you're going in blind. And I did neglect that in my early years. But when I started taking it, fortunately I'd not messed anything up. But then I've never been stupid with it, and I've always looked like, you know, how you feel is a decent indicator. Yeah, totally. But it's not the be all and end all. So yeah, blood work's important, and like I said, with the cruising, it's not something I recommend to anyone because. From a fertility point of view, you know, you could be doing yourself some real damage. I've never had a partner who I have been with long enough for anything like that to come up. Yeah. And I'm now at an age where I'm not sure if I actually want kids. Okay. So my goals have always been very driven towards bodybuilding. Yeah. And I appreciate that. From that point of view, I've considered everything. Yeah. But like, it's not something that I don't want people thinking, Josh has done that, I need to do that. Yeah. Because
you've took a collective decision based on where you want to be or where you're at.
Yeah. That, you know, I might have really screwed that side of things up for me, but it's not something that's a priority. Yeah. You know, I'm still in a position where I've not got anyone who it's an issue for or with. It's on my head.
So the fundamental basic principle being is that, you know, like you stated there, it's not putting the cart before the horse. Basically, that's how I've referred to the term, and it's actually nailing down your training and your nutrition. Yeah. You know, and for me, I mean, your training. I mean, is there a certain? I mean, obviously, there are different people train different ways and still get results. Yeah. I mean, you know. Myself and Darren use that high intensity training. I mean, what kind of protocol do you apply with yourself? Is, you know, it'd be interesting to see how your training's.
So, I mean, coming from a volume background with swimming, volume training has always done me well. And again, like I said, with my starting programs, I can't even call them programs. My starting sessions, I threw everything, including the kitchen sink at training, volume-wise. More. Yeah. You know, more was better. More was better. You know, I've done 2 hours on chest before. Wow. You know, just on chest, and I thought, you know, that I could probably do more. But now I have to train smart. Yeah. I'm not genetically gifted. Yeah. Within the gym, I know which muscle groups respond well and which muscle groups need a lot of thought. Chest development, for example, didn't develop for many years because I just lifted without thought. Right. A lot of my sessions now will start with an isolation so I can actually get things locked down.
Pre-exhausting in a way.
That and just get things in. Like, again, this is where Mark Coles, if you guys are interested in my training philosophy, a lot of the stuff, him, Ben Pekulski, that kind of smarter side of training. We're looking at kind of active range, different like short, medium, length and range of the muscle. Right. So length, technically, if you look into it, your shortened range is where you're weakest. So you're not going to get in that position midway through a session. So that's why I do an isolation where I will, for example, today do the pec deck, and I'll really focus on that tight squeeze of the pec. Yes, it is pre-exhausting. Yes, it gets a nice connection for me as well. I'll then look to do maybe a heavy, like you guys, you and Dorian, with a heavy press and looking at that real failure aspect. I may do one or even two exercises of that, and then I'll get a little bit of blood volumization. It's a mixture. Yeah. So, but it's got a format. So that's the way it'll go in kind of chest, back, and shoulders and arms. Legs for me. Hamstrings and glutes are priority, so they start the session.
You can have some of my glutes.
Quads,
Still got them there.
All the glute, yeah.
Probably arse and half on me.
No, exactly. That's what I want. Like I want a proper shelf. You know, all these girls.
I wish I could transfer some over for you, my dear.
If only. If all these girls banging on about booty training, I want some of that.
I didn't do it on purpose. I just squatted heavy. I was a heavy
and that's where
squatter.
It went for you. See, when I heavy squat,
legs and glutes,
quads is all that really gets from that.
You got awesome quads over that, man. Big man, but you know, when people say, but it's like say, very very rare do you find a guy your height with literally the quad development you've got.
But again, it's through stubborn, hard training and hours of it.
Yeah.
And you know, like I said to you, I've written programs for people that I thought were all right, but apparently they're quite hard. I think
quite hard. I love that. Quite hard.
It's where your reference point is.
But that's what we had.
When I started training, like, you know, I trained over at Loughborough to begin with a powerlifter, and we squatted hard, we squatted heavy. Now he wasn't a traditional powerlifter; he liked volume. Right. So you know, we did some 2-hour-long sessions of pushing each other through it. And he, like Rich Ellis, he probably won't get around to watching however long we've been talking to hear his name, but I'll let him know that I've mentioned him, because he instilled a training ethos that I carry through to this day. Yeah. Training with him, just the intensity, my methods have changed, but the intensity is from that point. And I'm hugely grateful. Like,
so you learned, you picked up a hell of a lot from
that.
But you know, I've trained with some people over the years when I was in full swing, and one or two stick in my mind, you know, and they actually one of them competed and won junior, Edison, and he was junior British champion, and he never continued, but the guy was one of the most, he was just a monster in the gym, and he was relentless, and you know, he always stands out for me, and you know, kudos to him. He was
that's it.
Absolutely
it's having guys, and you know, and it's just having someone who you can reference hard work against. Yeah. Because my least favourite term is people or kind of trait of people is when they think they're working harder than anyone else. Like there's always someone working harder out there, and I like that I've met and have. Do
you think
friends.
that's a psyche? But a lot of people think they train hard, but when you watch, you go, you're not even in the ball, you're not even close.
Exactly, and you've got to put yourself in environments, and that's maybe some advice that you could give to someone. Is, you know, if you want to learn about training, find the hardest trainer you know and train with them for a bit. You know, change your base level of what you understand and elevate it to theirs, and then you know, build from that. Like. You know, there are still like Rich Gozdecki is someone who, he's slightly broken now, but you know, a couple of years ago, he's someone I wouldn't train with. I'd be scared to train with him. That's how hard he worked. Really? And I like to think I can work hard. Yeah. But you know, he'd do maybe 10 by 10 deadlift, and that would be a warm up. That'd be exercise 1 done. Yeah. You know, and we're not talking just 10 by 10 going through the motions. Yeah. He's a 250. That'd be 250, 10 by 10, 250 deadlift. Wow. Like, it's mind-blowing what he did.
Would you say that was more conducive to what he was working towards, in a way?
Undoubtedly, and also, like, he is a freak. Yeah. You know, to look like he doesn't with what he doesn't use is astonishing. But, yeah, to have people who can put you in your place when it comes to hard work. Have you
ever thought of going? You know, like obviously you got Dorian and that as well. Have you ever thought of? I wouldn't fancy a workout with Dos, someone like that.
I mean, it would be awesome. Just to say, try to do it. Yeah. Whether I'd succeed and get through. I think I would.
You would, because I mean, if you've come from a volume background.
Yeah, and I struggle. I do struggle to like fail. I don't like that. Yeah. So I think you put me in the ring with anyone, and I'll give it my best.
We'll have to do a proper workout together, mate.
Yeah. Like I said, I would have loved today. We trained beforehand. I would have loved to have given it my all, but
you've not been to.
So not been over the well. Just ticking over till India. Yeah. But yeah, we'll get down again, and like I said, the Napa gym. Everyone who hasn't gone, I've now been, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So yeah.
Well, I think it's fair to say. We've covered quite a lot today, mate.
I think so. Yeah, I don't know how long we've been talking.
Just one thing that I'd like to drop in. What's 2018 hold up for?
I was just about
So for me, I think that the pinnacle show will be the Pro Universe end of October. Just because I want to. I've not really kind of publicised it as much because it doesn't really matter to me in terms of I'm still a bodybuilder, but I took my pro card after the Universe. So to see how I stack up against the Nabba pros and just get a feel for that. Like, I'm really enjoying the thought of being a small fish in a big pond again and having people to chase. And then with the PCA, I've competed with them in the past and I really enjoy their shows. So to do some of the Pro-Am stuff that they've got going on, I'd like to maybe go abroad and try some stuff, but I don't know what's available. Like, I'm going to spend the kind of January figuring out a few things, but my off-season starts when I go back from India, health providing. Like I said, I'll get blood work done and see what's what. And then it'll be my prep beginning kind of June time for October. And again, what shows will be. But the Universe will be the one, and I'd like to do 3 or 4 around that time. And again, just be better than last year. That's the main thing for me.
That's all it's about, isn't it?
Yeah, improve.
Keep getting better.
Exactly. Because I know there's more in me. I'm that tall. There's £300 on stage has always been a name. So in the next 3 years, I think that's doable. £13. I don't chase. I don't chase
numbers,
but I think that can be 3 years is realistic for that.
Awesome.
So see what happens.
Well, got it.
Oh, I've got a sign.
You got blue or black?
Black, I think. You've not seen my handwriting is like that of a child.
Let's have a look.
So those who follow me, I mean, I need to do it.
I
need to do it around there because I can't believe this.
Second one in. Honour Josh the Viking. Awesome. That's the one.
Eddie Elwood and Josh.
Just pull your mic in, Josh.
Brilliant, mate.
I mean, the fact that I'm so close to Eddie Elwood is, and the second person.
We'll put a love out between them, eh?
That.
When we got there, I'm taking a photo of this. that right there is awesome. I'm like a fan, so yeah.
Oh, well, Josh, it's been brilliant.
Thank
Absolutely,
you so much
fully
for
enjoyed.
Me, mate. Yeah, it's been great.
Delving into the life of the Viking.
And long way.
Have a great time in India, and we wish you all the best for 2018.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much,
pleasure,
mate. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks, Josh. Take care, mate. See you
soon.
Take care, mate.